part 7. I never figured that it would be a 7-part video series for my full collection. I figured, yeah, maybe a couple videos. 7, and most of them are at least 15 to 20 minutes long, so like 2 minutes per knife. You do the math, that's a lot of knives. So, holy crap. Yeah, but here at CrazySharp, I like to do things a little bit differently. Instead of saving the best for the last, I kind of save some of the worst for the last. So if you can make it to the very last knife, my goodness, you're looking at a piece of Mall Ninja-esque garbage right there. So not to make this any longer, we're gonna jump right into it with just some of the outlying weird stuff that I have in my collection right after you guys listen to a little bit of music. Guys, this is the final video. We're going to start it off with one of my oldest knives. Gosh, I got this in high school. This is a Frost cutlery. Let me get my reading glasses so I can make sure this is in focus. This is a Frost cutlery, surgical steel, made in Japan. Frost cutlery. This was the I want to say this was the Ace of Spades or the Blackjack. This is the Blackjack. This was the Blackjack Dagger from Frost Cutlery. As you can see, the handle is mounted on it crooked. It's not real well ground. It's just a goofy piece of crap knife that I've had since I was a kid. It was a boot knife that came in a sheath. We used to go after... I actually have knives that are older than this. We're going to see here in a minute, but this falls into that category. Just goofy stuff I've had since a child, since high school, I guess. When I had my first job, there was a place called Hillbilly, an Indian shop in Zanesville, Ohio. It was in a shopping mall, and we would go there every payday when I worked at that restaurant at Taco Bell, and me and my buddy would go there every Tuesday. All right, so every payday, and we would wind up going that weekend, and we would go and we would get something. There's a couple more knives from there you're going to see, but it was something fun. It was something nice. You know, we had all this stuff, and we would just spend our paycheck on it. And so there you go, the Frost Cutlery Blackjack boot knife. What a piece of crap. There's another knife that I bought at the Hillbilly Indie shop. My dad had one of these. It was a double-edged one. This was they were Explorer brand. This actually is not a horrible knife. I mean, it's not a great knife, but you can see, like, I didn't know how to sharpen back then. This thing's a piece of crap. It was serrated plastic handles. It was the, what did they call it? The Rogue Skinner. I actually used this as a throwing knife. Well, it doesn't throw too bad, but it is full tang, rubberized handle. So it's not a horrible knife. My dad had the boot knife version of this. We actually were we both were there, and we bought it at the store. It's got a plastic lined nylon sheath with a Velcro closure. This was actually a viable tool, outdoor tool. Not super horrible, but you know, crappy. I think I used a pull through on this. It's really thick blade stock, thick behind the edge. 440 stainless out of Japan. So yeah, not a great knife, but this was when I started buying more knives that were along the lines of things that would be, I don't know, useful. So there you go, the Explorer Rogue Skinner that I bought at the Hillbilly Indian shop in Zanesville, Ohio. All right, so the last knife that I purchased there, this is a Valor. I tried to clean this up and do it as a zero grind. This was supposed to be some sort of, I don't know, it was really sharp when I got it. It's actually still really sharp, but I just had a faux leather wrap, this gold-plated hardware. It was just something cool when I was a kid. I'm sure it's just a rat tail tang. I guarantee it's not real well made, but it was supposed to be like a Japanese style dagger. And like I said, when I first got it, this thing was really the sharpest knife I had ever had at that point. And this was not a horrible knife, but it's just a crappy little thing that I got. This not a great knife. I don't even know how to, I'm at a loss for words, these things that I owned. And so my wife is hoping I get this collection video series done, because there's literally knives everywhere out here in the garage. She's like, it's a mess out there. Fix that. So there you go. This is a Valor. This was a Valor made Japanese Dagger that I picked up. It does have a leather wrapped sheath. I mean, it looks attractive. I should probably do this as a giveaway, clean it up somehow and do it as a giveaway. But yeah, there you go. That was the last of the knives that I purchased at that little Mall Ninja shop in Zanesville, Ohio. I actually just stumbled upon this. I forgot I even had this. Remember we were talking about knives that, you know, you forget you own? This was a gift from a friend of mine. This is a Maxim Knives military commemorative Bowie knife. And it's, I mean, it's made, you know, manufactured in China, national headquarters, USA. It's a big, bulky, uncomfortable knife, but it was a gift, and it was the thought that counts. You know, this was a Veterans Day gift from a friend back home. It came in a nice little case. I forgot I even had it until some friends stopped by. I had gotten this out and then put it away, and then forgot again that I had it until this morning when I was looking through some stuff. So there you go. There's that one. Now the Maxim knives, this is not, I'm not gonna lie, this is not a horrible knife. It needs a little bit of contouring and things, but it's not a bad knife overall. I actually went to the trouble of sharpening this. No idea what the steel is on this. Maxim knives are not known for being super high quality. I mean, even when you look at let's take a look at the lanyard hole on this. It's not concentric. That's not a round hole. So I don't know exactly what was going on. I imagine that it's blown out, but like it's oblong. You can see it's not exactly concentric. The pins are a little high and stuff like that. But like I said, just because it was a gift from a friend, it does have a good bit of meaning. So there you go. There's my Maxim military commemorative Bowie in honor of those who have served. So we're going to save the worst for last. I don't want to have that taste in my mouth going into the video. This is not the worst. This was a gift from my friend Alan Hawthorne. We were in Thailand. He got this for me as a birthday gift. This is the most ridiculous push dagger you'd ever want to see. It's not great. I let somebody mess with this and they're like, oh, let me try and sharpen it. And I was like, do whatever you want. And I think they had a fixtured system and they screwed it all up because I didn't care. But yeah, this was just something that I kept because it was a gift from a friend of mine. We were roommates in Japan for a lot of years. We shared a house, actually. We shared an apartment and a house. We moved from an apartment to a house that we rented. And so it was just something he gave me one time. I was on shore duty. He was on a ship. He'd just come back from Thailand. He got this for me out in town in Thailand and brought it to me as a birthday gift. So there you go, Alan. I still have it. I didn't up and get rid of it. That's one of the worst knives I've ever seen. But the thought that counts, and that's what matters. This is a knife that you saw in a video, and I forgot to throw it in. This was the one that Dwayne Smotherman, Mr. S. Smotherman gave me. This knife, I did a video about it not too long ago. This is that Schrade 60 TW. This was the one I did. This was kind of Schrade's answer to the Buck 110. I actually like the way these feel better than the Buck 110. Are they as nice? No. Are they more comfortable for me? Yes. And the fact is I could replace this if I needed to. It's not done in very good steel, but this, honestly, I said it in the video I did about it, probably the most used knife in our house right now. The wife and I grab this anytime it sits on a shelf out here, and anytime we get packages and stuff, this is what we use to open it. Really reliable lock. It's not a poorly made knife. It's just made with poor materials. The handles on it, it's attractive, and it does take an aggressively sharp edge. It just doesn't hold it for real long. I think this was 7C. I can't remember. I'd have to look it back up, but I just did a video about it not too long ago. Yeah, but those ironwood handles are attractive. It's not an ugly knife, and it comes with a sheath, a fairly decent sheath, actually. So, you know, for around 30 bucks, 40 bucks, or like I think they were 30 bucks, you're looking at, you know, a viable pocket knife. If you lose it in the woods, you're not out that much. So there you go, the Schrade 60 TW. So this is in my collection because this was my father's favorite butcher knife. This was used for butchering deer and cows, and I think there's a couple X's on here, or no, notches on here where I can't remember if those were my deer or my dad's deer or whose deer they were, but there were some notches cut in it, so obviously you had to have another knife to, that was kind of silly. You have to have a knife to cut a notch in your knife. But this is an old Ontario Knife Company butcher knife, and these things are great. These hold an edge really well. They patina up nice. This was probably going to wind up in my butcher block when the boning knife that I have in there finally gives up the ghost. The handle's coming loose. I should actually just throw this in there. Super, super sharp, well executed, nice wood handles. No play in these handles even after all these years. And even though you can see where the steel has patinaed and corroded along the wood, yeah, it's on its last, it would look like it's on its last leg still. Solid knife. So there you go. My dad's favorite butcher knife. It's part of my collection now. He even had some of those old kit sheath things, the knife kit sheaths laying around, and made a sheath for it so he could throw it in his butchering box. There you go, guys. Now we're going to get into the worst, the dregs of my collection. Save the worst for last. This is not the worst. The next two are the worst. This is that knockoff Atour that came in. I actually bought this. I was sold on it being an actual Atour. When I got it, it had that, the stainless steel USA custom, the hallmark of a fake knife. Now, this, I'm not going to lie to you, and I know that people are going to get upset because I always say, you know, screw knockoff, screw counterfeits. This is not a horrible knife. It actually, I've sharpened it. I have it in a kit for a bug out bag kind of thing. It took a really decent edge. Why won't this focus? It does have the entire, ooh, that sounds horrible. That O-ring needs replaced. It has a horrible, it has the no joke survival knife style kit that is in it. It's, you know, once that thing is fixed, it's fairly waterproof. Matches, sewing kit, stuff like this. I talked about this knife. It actually has a slingshot that is part of the sheath. Why won't this thing focus? Sorry about that. Camera wouldn't focus. So what I was saying is there's there's stuff in here that you can make this into a slingshot and all that stuff. It's kind of cool. It wasn't a horrible knife, so I did keep it. The compass actually is fairly, you know, it's not super reliable, but it's not too far off. So there you go. That's that fake Atour that I got. Nothing special, but like I said, it's honestly not a horrible knife. I just wish it wasn't a fake. They even went as far, if they hadn't done this, I would have been okay with it just as a knockoff. This says Atour. Atours are much more expensive knives. So here we go, guys. Get ready, because here come the worst. The last two knives. Hey guys, this was called the United Black Widow. This was the United Black Widow boot knife. Aluminum handles. I believe that has been spray painted. I taped everything off. Yeah, I didn't even do a real good job taping anything off. Spray painted this aluminum silver. Had a Black Widow on it. I filed it off because I didn't like it. Yeah, it's not good. This is a horrible knife. It's one of the worst belt clip attachments I've ever seen. Trying to put that on a boot, you're lost. Well, let's not mince any words about it. This is a piece of shit. Piece of shit. And I bought that in high school out of a catalog, me and a friend of mine. Yeah, there you go. The Black Widow dagger. It had a patch on here that I cut off that was of a Black Widow. Let's get this out of here. I don't want to look at it. The last knife in my collection. Can you believe that it took 7 videos to get to the last knife? So in that theme of saving the worst for last, I present you with the Black Scorpion Dagger. Now, this also had a patch on it. This was the epitome of stupid young child purchases. Had a black blade at one point. I sanded this black off of it. Had serrations here. I took them out to make it look, well, more like a scorpion's stinger. And then, I must have been like 15 when I bought this. In the back, it was like, oh, it comes with a secret hidden thing. Like, that's what the magazine sold it. It's like, it's got a push dagger in the handle. And you're like, that's your push dagger, guys. That's United Cutlery's idea of a push dagger. And the thing kept coming out. So I actually super glued it in place. What a piece of trash, but I've kept it because it brings back, it's like that, here, I'll grab it. It's of the same time frame as this. So when I first saw these and I wanted one so badly, these were available, things like that. I had some more knives. I used to have throwing stars, all kinds of stuff. Just your typical kid, just your typical, 1980s male. This is the stuff I found interesting. I'd seen so many Rambo movies and stuff like this. This actually was the first knife, the very first knife I ever owned that had a scout carry option, right? You could carry this scout carry in the small of your back or on your side. Just run your belt through these loops. Holy crap, guys. That was high speed, low drag when I was growing up. And I still think back on this. And I think how much I carried this like in the woods and stuff. I'm like, I got a Dagger. I was an idiot. But it brings back a lot of memories. It's still a lot of fun. It's just a big, you couldn't even I tried to sharpen it. You can't get it sharp. I don't know what steel this is like. Look, you can't, it didn't even have an edge when I got it. And I tried so hard, so many times to put an edge on it. You just couldn't get it sharp. There you go, guys. That one gets a lot of time because in all honesty, of all the knives I have that are of questionable quality, I think this is my favorite because it was just so goofy and so silly. I will say that is really comfortable in hand. That knife is so comfortable in hand with that fat handle. It's just weird. So guys, that's the end of the collection. I'm sorry it took so many videos to do it. Let's go ahead and do some final thoughts. Let's turn this camera around and be done with this forever. I'm never doing this again. I'm just going to turn it into a playlist. So guys, yeah, that was it. That was my entire collection. And as goofy as some and crappy as some of those little knives were at the very end there's stuff that I keep because there's so much memory attached to it and things like that. And that's the thing about knife collecting and about knives in general. It can represent something that you didn't expect it to. There's little items that I have that represent memories that I can't ever get rid of. Things like my cousin Jason Shaw and I would buy those knives, those United Cutlery knives, do a catalog, get them delivered to the house. And we were in love with them. And, it just evolves from there. So I don't want to make this any longer. I don't want to get into the emotional attachment that we have with items because then you get into just like the psychological effects of purchasing and things like that. But I will say this has been a blast. I joked about it like being painful to do. It's actually been a labor of love. I really did enjoy showing you guys every one of the knives. I'm sure that there's stuff I missed. Somewhere in a box, somewhere, there's stuff that I didn't get out, stuff that I didn't show you. But, that being aside, it was a lot of fun. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you want to support the channel, all the stuff down below, affiliate links, merch store, the join tab, all that stuff. We're not going to dig into it, but I will say I love you all. If it's your birthday, happy birthday, and I will see you in the next video.